What I really appreciate about my dad, Paul Estabrooks, my adoptive father, is just his courage and willingness to go wherever God asks of him. And whether that's to be a missionary in the Philippines and Singapore doing radio, to smuggling Bibles in restricted countries, to serving the persecuted church, and to loving his family well. My dad has done it with such grace and kindness and consistency and commitment. I'm also so inspired and appreciate that my dad, even in his late 70s, continues to pivot and learn new things as he continues to serve God, doing podcasts and YouTube videos and writing books and doing online seminars. My dad has showed me that you're never too old to learn something new and to continue to do the work of sharing the good news with the world. And that's what I so appreciate about my dad. And I also so appreciate that him and my mom adopted me from the Philippines. I will be forever grateful. And I love you, Dad. I so appreciate you today.
That was so honoring. And Paul has spent his life as an international missionary, and what a life he has led. Let's welcome Paul to the show. Well, welcome, Paul. Thanks for being on the show.
Thank you so much, Bill. It's good to be with you.
Yeah. Now, I was fascinated by your life and especially your passion for missions. So what first sparked that passion? Where did that come from? And how did you know that that's what you were supposed to do with your life?
Well, I think it started with my mom. My dad was a pastor, and I grew up in the church. And my mom had us read through the Bible every year, 4 chapters a day, and also gave us all these missionary books to read, like the Jungle Doctor series I read as a kid, David Livingstone's life, even Pearl Buck from China. And I never realized how much China would later have a part to play in my life and ministry. So that was the beginning. And then I went to Bible college. And can you believe the name of the Bible college was London College of Bible and Missions? And so missions was the focus in the middle 60s. So that was, and then Diane and I, when I went to university afterwards to do some graduate studies, we went to Urbana, the missionary conference for young people in college. And Dr. Bowman from Far East Broadcasting Company was there. I had done my graduate studies in mass communications, and I worked at the television station in London, Ontario here in those days. And we were challenged by Dr. Bowman to consider to give our lives to mission, and he gave us a challenge to join their team, which we, after a lot of prayer, decided this was what God wanted us to do. So we ended up in the Philippines.
Oh, I love that. Well, because it was really a combination of key influences in your life and key experiences that you were just open to saying, God, whatever you have for me, I'm in. And I love that. And so you've had some pretty remarkable experiences. And one in particular, you've called it Project Pearl. You actually wrote a whole book about it that our viewers can go on our website and find more information about. But what was that about, and how were you able to pull that off?
Well, after spending this 1970s with Far East Broadcasting Company in Manila, we joined Brother Andrew's ministry, the Brother Andrew of God's Smuggler fame. His office was also in Manila, where we were already living, and they invited me to join them. And just at the time I joined them in 1979, we had a request from China. One network of Christians in southern China wanted 1 million Bibles, wow, Chinese Bibles. Wow. And they wanted them all at one time, all at one place. Well, even a small Bible, and the Bible was like this size, as you can see, it's not a huge Bible. That's a full Bible in Chinese. If 1 million of those weigh 232 tons, okay, we're talking tons. Wow. Pretty hard to do in suitcases, which is what we had done up to that point.
Right.
And so it was a project of prayer. Let me tell you, we had no idea how we were going to do this. God brought us the right people, a captain, a missionary in the Philippines who'd been an old sea captain. And he had the idea of getting a tugboat to pull a barge, a specially built barge, built in the Philippines, that would hold 232 one-ton blocks, waterproof wrap blocks of Chinese Bibles in cardboard boxes. There were 90 of them in a cardboard box, which also were wrapped in waterproof wrapping. And on the night of June 18, which is coming up to 40 years next week, we landed on a beach where the believers told us to come, just south of the city of Santo in southern China. And we offloaded in 2 hours, from 9 o'clock at night till 11 o'clock at night. We offloaded those 232 one-ton blocks. They would float, even with a man standing on them. There were still 2 inches of freeboard. And we pulled them with little rubber boats into the shore. There were hundreds, possibly thousands of Chinese Christian men waiting on the beach for us. And they came out in the water up to their neck. We threw them the lines. They pulled up those blocks onto the beach, opened them with shears, and then handed the cardboard boxes, daisy chain style, up the beach to vehicles that they actually had to take them away, as well as storage units, because you can just imagine how many Bibles that was and what a challenge it would be even for them. It took them 5 years to distribute what it took us 2 hours to drop off.
Wow, that is an amazing story. And you actually wrote about that. You have a book, right, that tells that story.
Yes.
And
yes, it's called Night of a Million Miracles.
Right, and so if you're watching and you'd like to read that story, find out more of the details, it's an inspiring story. You can go to our website and we'll direct you there. But I'm amazed at this concept. I've thought about this. When you get to heaven, there's going to be someone there who says, because you were willing to pull off what really seemed like an audacious plan and dream, I am here too, and I love that. I love your heart and your passion and your courage to do something that was really outside of the box. And so, thank you for sharing that story with us today. And it is Seniors Appreciation Month. And so what advice would you give for other seniors who might be watching, who want to get involved in missions at this stage in life?
Well, the best thing to do is to get informed and keep informed on what's happening around the world, because there still is a lot going on, even with COVID, and even in spite of COVID. It's amazing. Every month I put out a monthly report to people who follow me on different social media called God at Work in Our World Today. And I have no trouble filling a whole page every month with incredible things that are happening. But for seniors, we who are older have more time on our hands now than we did when we were working and raising our kids when they were young, even though we've got lots of grandkids to work with now. But I think prayer is one of the most incredible things that seniors can be involved in. Brother Andrew, who was one of my mentors, often said, prayer is not part of the spiritual battle. Prayer is the spiritual battle. And, seniors have more time on their hands to do that. You only want to do that if you really know what to pray about. And that's what I suggest that seniors do, is to keep informed. I love following websites like David Platt, who wrote the book Radical, and he is very big on unreached people groups, and there are many other sites as well where you can learn about the unreached peoples of this world and pray that God would lead someone there to tell those people the gospel of Jesus.
That is so powerful. So become aware and pray. I love that. Well, thank you so much for spending time with us today. It was just a real pleasure. And so thank you.